Alright, what's up guys? This is NinjaDeathStrike bringing you another Play TCG match with another Dark Explorers deck, and this is kind of a pet deck that I actually built pretty early on. So as you can see, my opponent thought that he had mulliganed, but Darkrai is actually a basic, so he didn't, and I got to see his hand, which is cool. I knew what deck he was playing anyhow, so not a big deal. But I'm playing Ninetales. That's the only two cards in the deck. And it's kind of a spiritual successor to the Chandelure deck that I loved so much during Next Destinies. I'm not at all sure how competitive it'll be. This is actually like the first time we were testing out Dark Explorers decks, so we were playing a lot of goofy stuff. And it performed pretty well here, but it's gonna need some work, and I'm like, the metagame kind of needs to establish itself before I'll be able to judge how good it will be. But in any case, it's really fun. So you can see here, we get a Juniper first turn, and 2 Weevils get discarded, so that's a pretty big deal. Most decks only run 2 Weevils, so discarding them both on the first turn could potentially come back and be a problem later. But I guess he really needed to get his hand going. He didn't have a whole lot going on outside of that Juniper, so I understand the decision to go for it. But I have a really great starting hand, actually. I'm going to go ahead and evolve here, and then Roast Reveal for 3. I get some stuff. I have to arrange to see what it is. A Fire Energy, and some other stuff. So I'm actually going to decide to go for the Super Scoop Up here, because I don't want to waste my attachment trying to retreat. And I flip a Tails, which is unfortunate. And then I decide I want to go for Random Receiver first. I do have that other Scoop Up there in my hand, and I'm still considering trying it again to pick up this Ninetales. It's a bit of a risk, especially if I get End, but being able to pick up the Ninetales will let me attach to Entei and then Fire Fang and actually get some burn damage onto this Darkrai. Or not burn damage, but get damage and burn. And I flip heads on the second one, so it's actually going to pay off. Then I catcher out Zorua, and okay, never mind about that Darkrai thing. Oh, right, because he had a Dark Energy on him. His retreat cost would have been free, so he could have just retreated to the bench to ditch it. I decide Zorua is a better play, because if he flips the Tails, I'll actually be able to knock it out. Unfortunately, he flips heads, and that's going to mean he survives with 20 hit points. So pretty aggressive play from me turn 1, but I like it. I think it was a pretty good call. I have a fair number of Ninetales. Even if I get End here, there's a pretty good probability I'll be able to draw into something that some way to get it onto the field next time, and I do in fact get End. But you're going to see here, I hit another Ninetales anyhow, so not a big deal at all. And now I have that Entei active without having the Vulpix stuck. So here's an Ultra Ball. Assume he's going to go for a Zoroark here. Yep, there's a Zoroark. And again, this is the first night of testing Dark Explorers, so we're both running a Zoroark in our Dark deck. Since then, I haven't actually played the Zoroark deck recently. I've kind of just shifted over to Darkrai with support, but you can see here Zoroark's doing some work. He gets turn 2 100, which is huge for him. Luckily, I have some stuff going my way as well. I do get a level ball, so I'm going to be able to grab another Vulpix here. And I've got another Entei on the bench. I've got that Eviolite too, which is nice. Let's see. I decided to put her on the bench one since I've already taken 100 damage with the active. Not really too much to be gained by attaching it to the active there. And I think looks like I'm thinking about playing this N, and I am going to decide to hang on to it. The reason being, I'm expecting to get knocked out here, and by having the N in hand, once Entei goes down, that's going to put him at 4 cards rather than 6. So I did have everything I needed to take a prize there, and I figured it was better just to stick it out and play the N next turn. I also use Entei's attack Grand Flame. For those of you who are not familiar with what the attack does, it does 90 damage, and it lets you attach a fire energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon on the bench. So I go ahead and put it onto the other Entei, and then I get that fire energy off of my prize card, so I'll also be able to attach that next turn, and should be looking pretty good. So he catchers out something here. Looks like he goes for the other Entei, and apparently he doesn't have the cards to attack, so he just has to pass. Here, I grabbed that other Eviolite, so I figure I may as well just drop it on Entei. It will actually force Darkrai to either get a Dark Claw or a Plus Power or a Special Dark Energy to be able to take a prize. Since he's only going to be doing 70 damage right now, 10 shy of a knockout. So here I go for the N just because at this point I do need to play it. You know, it would have been nice to put him at 4, but I want to get some more cards in my hand, keep my hand moving, and I hit a switch, which is cool. Means that this damaged Entei is going to get some more work done, and it also, you can see there I drew into another N. So again, I'm going to be able to put him down to 4 cards if he takes a prize this turn. I decided not to bench the third Entei there just because it will be catcher bait. There's no way to get energy on it this turn. Better to just keep it in hand. I can always play it down next turn, and I will have another Entei hopefully charged up. I don't have any fire energy in my discard pile right now, so I'm not able to attach with Grand Flame, but doing 90 damage is nice. It's going to put Darkrai in range for an Oko next turn, and you can see right off the bat one of the problems of this deck is if people play Eviolite, 90 damage a turn is enough to 2-hit KO any EX, but if they have an Eviolite, it pushes it to 3. Luckily, Entei also is a 3-hit KO with pretty much everything with Eviolite, so it kind of trades off, but it would really be better if he was a 3-hit KO and everything else was a 2. So maybe I need to work in a couple of plus powers into this deck just to put me at enough damage to be able to take out Eviolated EXs in 2 hits. We'll see. I haven't touched this deck since the night I've played it, so we'll see what happens to it in the future. But here we get a Juniper, lots of stuff going on. There's an Ultra Ball, probably for, well, actually he can't get a Weevil. I'm sure he'd like a Weevil right now, but he discarded both of them the first turn, so that's not going to be an option. He has to go for a Zorua instead, which is still decent since Zoroark is kind of the main attacker. And then he's going to go for Night Spear, so that will take out my first Entei and let him actually take the prize lead. So I just go do a roundabout way of putting the next one active, but whatever. Top deck the fire energy. That's nice. I probably would have hit it anyhow since I do have the N and the Sharon and the energy retrieval. Now I decide to bench the second Entei just because I need to, and Grand Flame's going to let me get those energies going. Go for the N, put him at 4. You can see play TCG is lagging a little bit. It looks like he's at 5, but he's actually at 4. And here we go. Now it's catching up to itself. So yet another Eviolite, which is fantastic. Flip for Burn Tower. Don't get it, but that's cool. I'm going to Roast Reveal here. Not really sure what I'm looking for. I guess, yeah, I guess that second Ninetales, just to prevent KO from another Darkrai. And I guess I'm just taking a look at my discard. I'm looking for something. And then I Grand Flame, attach the fire energy, and draw 2 prizes. So now I'm up another prize. And normally being in an odd number of prizes is kind of awkward just because you really want to be KOing EXs for 2. But since this is the Zoroark build of the deck, I should be able to take one more prize somewhere to put myself at 2, and then hopefully I'll be able to take out that Darkrai in a couple of shots for my last couple prizes. Here we get a Dark Patch. That DCE gets attached to the bench Zoroark, Dark Patch onto Darkrai, and another Juniper. So that's the third Juniper that's been played, I think. He's really running, basically been able to stream those, and it puts him into another Dark Patch, which is not good for me. Darkrai has 2 energy on it now. If he's got a Junk Arm or a third Dark Patch, he'll actually be able to attack with Darkrai, but it looks like he doesn't because he's going to promote Zoroark instead, and that's going to do 80? Yes. 60. Should have done 80. Wow, I didn't put enough damage on it. Right, that's a Darkrai on the bench that's covered up. Yeah, that should have done... Oh no, 80... Wait, whatever. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Yeah, that should have done 80. Alright, my mistake. It's not going to matter a whole lot here, though, I think. So I play that Heavy Ball just to get it out of my hand. I've switched over to Dual Ball since then because it gets both. I play down the Ultra Ball again just to get things out of my hand. I do take a look at my deck just to see what I have left, but what I'm doing here is just trying to prepare for an N. I know that it's probably coming soon, and I need to be ready for it. So I'm trying to get as many of the junk cards out of my deck as I can. That way, if I do get End, the probability of drawing into helpful things is going to be a lot higher. I'll play the catcher here for Zorua. I cannot take out Zoroark in one hit because it's got 100 hit points and I only do 90, so I'm forced to just take a prize on Zorua. But that's okay. It does get me a prize, and it also weakens Brutal Bash to the point where every time I take something out, it's going to do 20 less damage, which is really good, especially late game. Zoroark really has trouble keeping that damage number high enough to be able to take out these EXs quickly enough. So here we get Sneasel promoted. There looks like an attachment to Zorua and maybe a Dark Patch onto Zoroark. They both got energy somehow. I do get End, just like I was worried about. And I draw into 2 Junk Arms, which is not the best, but it's okay. I'll get to draw a card next turn, and then I can Junk Arm for my random receiver, which will be good. Dual Wall here for my opponent. That's going to get him 1 more card. So it will put Brutal Bash at 80 again, I believe. Let's see. Oh, he retreats. Did he flip Dual Tails? I thought I saw heads in there. But he's retreated Sneasel. Okay, Darkrai's coming up. And so I guess he did flip Dual Tails. Either that or maybe he didn't have any basics left. That could be it too. But he's going to go for the Night Spear. That will do 70. Will put me at 130. And then 60 to Ninetales. I should be at 150 right now. Again, it's not... I don't think it's going to matter. So I've missed the Burn Tower flip again. Decide just to go for the Roast Reveal because I can. That's why Ninetales is here. And I get a whole lot of Junk Arms and an N. So the Lost Remover, tempting, but I don't think I'm going to need it. It would be nice to get rid of that DCE, but I'm pretty sure that I decide to just Junk Arm it instead because I don't want to Junk Arm away 2 Junk Arms. That would just be disastrous. So as much as I would have liked to have it, I go ahead and Junk Arm it instead for a catcher. Pull up this Zorua. And I don't actually like this play. I would have much rather seen the Grand Flame onto Darkrai, just because now I've put myself at 1 card, so if 1 prize. So if I get End again, I'm not going to be able to Junk Arm. And in any case, I would have still been able, you know, had I had that catcher later, I could have just catcher Darkrai back in and finished it off with another Grand Flame from my benched Entei. So definitely a misplay there, going for Zorua instead of just hitting Darkrai. But here we've got a Junk Arm. He's Junk Arming away an Oak and Dark Energy for Dark Claw. He's going to attach that to Zoroark, and then it's going to float under the table. I don't know what happened there, but you can see the 20 damage I should have on Entei is not making a whole lot of a difference here, just because I'm going to get knocked out this turn. Oh, there we go. It does go into Darkrai. I'm going to get knocked out this turn anyhow. So he's actually going to take 3 prizes this turn. There's the N as well. So you can see not just attacking Darkrai is definitely hurting me here. And we get another Dark Claw onto Zoroark, so that kind of sucks. And I don't really have a hand. I have an N. That's cool. I'll be able to put him at 1 card, but it's not going to matter a whole lot because he's going to take 3 prizes this turn. So, and he's got 2 attackers ready to go. N's not going to hurt him that badly. What I really need here is a catcher. If I get a catcher, I can grab Sneasel and win the game. So hitting a Fire Energy here would be great. Looks like I forget to draw for my turn. I get too excited and just go for N. So that was a mistake. I hit an Oak, which does not do me any good. And hopefully I remember to flip for Burn Tower here. Waiting for him to go. Yep, there's the Burn Tower flip. And I get a Tails. So definitely should have drawn a card at the beginning of my turn, but I didn't. And it could have ended up costing me the game. But as it is, I can't do anything except Grand Flame, so I just stick that onto Ninetales and pass. And now he's at 2 cards, so at least I don't have to worry about Junk Arm for a catcher. The only thing that would lose me the game here is if he actually had just top decked a catcher, or a supporter, of course. But I see the Dark Patch. This is the moment of truth, whether or not he's going to get a catcher or a supporter. The fact that he retreats Darkrai means that he probably doesn't have it. And he just sends in Zoroark, who is going to be able to Brutal Bash for 40. This is actually a good move. I can't attack Zoroark because if I do, it's going to put me at put him at 90 and let him do a ridiculous amount of damage with Dark Rush. So I show him that I have Oak and a random receiver in my hand. So, oops, I discard that Ninetales. Let's see if I catch that. Yep, I do. Okay, good. Put the Ninetales back. Shuffle the deck. And I'm not going to go for the N. Just going to go for the Oak. Shuffle. Draw 6. And I hit a catcher here. I win. There it is. Catcher out. Darkrai or Sneasel. It doesn't matter. And take my last prize. So that's going to be the game. A couple of misplays from me. It's always interesting watching your own games. You always seem to notice your boneheaded moves that you don't catch in the heat of the moment. But anyhow, a very interesting deck that I will definitely be playing around with later. As far as uploads for the next few weeks, I'm really working on hammering out my quote-unquote main decks right now, the main competitive decks. So probably going to be seeing lots of Darkrai and lots of Eels in the next couple uploads. I know a lot of you hate Eels, but I promise it's a good deck. I like watching Eels matches, and it's got a completely different feel from what it did last set. So just give it a chance. Anyhow, that is going to do it for this upload. Stay tuned, guys. I will, of course, have more coming your way shortly. Leave me a comment, thumbs up if you liked the video, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.